the first chart I'm going to get into here today is Google, ticker GOOGL. Now, the interesting thing about Google is it's looking like it's trying to do a pullback here. And there's a couple of reasons why I say that, okay? And we'll get into those reasons now. So what's very important for me is that Google closed under this golden pocket. And under this golden pocket, as you can see, is basically our next support zone. So we've kind of broke a very good support zone for the next leg up by falling under 128.52. I do think that we can come back down and test this pivot here in July around 125.97. And if we can't hold that pivot at 129.97, I do believe that Google comes down and fill this gap here. This is the daily chart, so it is showing that we could come all the way down to about 122.19 before we get some type of bounce on. Okay, so let's look at the weekly here, guys. Once again, why am I targeting that 125.97 level? For a potential to let me know if we're going to bounce here or if we're going to reject. Because if you look at it, and this is the weekly chart, guys, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks that we held a resistance at 125.97. So my thought process is if we break under this 129.97 going into this week, we will more than likely fill this gap on a daily. Guys, so the next ticker we're going to talk about here is Apple, ticker AAPL. Now, what's interesting to me with Apple here is we're back into this consolidation zone here. We actually entered this consolidation back in May, and we were in that consolidation zone for 16 whole trading days. So it's very important to understand the past history of a chart to know what the future may entail for this chart. So looking at the past, whenever we have came back into this consolidation zone from last May, which we are in now, this week, it has shown that consolidation at 176.52 can hold as a very key resistance. So what to look for? Let's dig it a little bit deeper. We're looking at the daily here. Okay, so when we look a little deeper here, guys, into Apple, I also put up some flow here at the bottom of the screen here. So Friday close for Apple, we had a push up into about 345-ish, and then the market just sold off the rest of the last 15 odd minutes of the day. Very, very hard, I must say. But when I looked at the flow, I saw at 350 that there were dip buyers stepping in for September 1st. Now, that doesn't surprise me because that's 2 weeks out on the contract. Last time we was in this consolidation zone, we stayed here for 16 days. They bought this Friday, but they gave themselves a cushion of 14 days to actually retest the 175. I can't tell you if they sold already or if they're still holding those positions because you can't see that. But let's just say hypothetically that they are still holding. What they recognize is that we do have this consolidation zone that we struggled with, and now we're back into it. So what I'll be looking for Apple going into next week expirations, I'll be looking to see if we can actually push back up to test this 175.52, or if we just continue to come back down. Wouldn't surprise me if we pushed up to 176.52 and rejected back down like we did previously before. So I'm going to be looking not to pull the trigger on Apple just yet. I want to just look and make sure that I'm correct so my group can be correct so that we can all bank on this. It is very noteworthy to say that somebody did buy over $600,000 on the 175s, but they did give themselves a 2-week cushion. If you're a scalp trader, then that will be the best opportunity to scalp some puts to the downside, given the fact that history always repeats itself, correct? So with history repeating itself, it's showing that we're going to push up more than likely to 176.52 eventually, and we're going to end up rejecting that. So if we do get that action going into Monday where we actually push up into that zone, that may be the best entry for you for a rejection to scalp some puts and make quick money there. The weekly chart, the number one thing I noticed is this heavy sell pressure. So even if we don't get this retest of 176.52 in that rejection right away, you can still look to take some puts to the downside. Me personally, I'm not looking to take Apple to the upside until I can see that we can break above this 176.52. If we can't break above 176.52, then I'm not interested to the upside. I'll just be looking for some plays on puts.